Hey, this is Jake Hunter from Class Act, and you're listening to the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to another episode of the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You're my boy, Blue!
Yo, Adrian!
A podcast with interviews of amazing guests from the world of pop culture.
Oh, yeah!
TV.
Nice!
Movies.
Oh, I love the movies!
Comedy and more. From deep inside the Man Cave, your host, Elias.
Jake, welcome to the cave.
Thank you for having me.
How are you, man? What's new with you?
Busy. A lot of good stuff going on. Just got back from New Mexico, actually. I got to act in a new movie called The Comeback Trail, and it's going to be a really cool movie. It's with Robert De Niro, Morgan Freeman, and Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, wow.
So that one was really, really cool to be a part of. I just have a smaller role in that one, but it was definitely an experience. And yeah, that's one that'll be coming out in December. So
nice.
Super stoked for that one. Yeah.
So everybody knows you from Amazon's Prime, Class Act, and you've done numerous TV appearances on shows. And we'll talk about that, but I want the listeners to get to know you a little bit. Where are you originally from?
I'm from upstate New York, like Albany area. I don't know if you ever saw A Place Beyond the Pines, that movie, but it's kind of like in that area.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Massachusetts, so Albany's a few hours away.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go to Springfield to the Basketball Hall of Fame there.
Okay.
Remember?
Yep, I'm like 10 minutes away
Yeah.
from there.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah. So how was it growing up there?
Growing up there, it was definitely not an entertainment type of spot. All I wanted to do was play baseball my whole life. And that was, even there, it's not really prime for baseball either up in the Northeast, but still grew up just like a giant Mets fan. Loved Mike Piazza, wanted to be the next Mike Piazza. And then all I did was play baseball. There was like a baseball academy in Troy, which was by my house that I used to go to, and I trained year round. That's all I did was play baseball from like ages 8 until after college when I transitioned here. So, it was just like a normal small town type of situation, but I felt like I was always different because I always had, even if when it wasn't in entertainment, I wanted to be the best baseball player ever. You know what I mean? I always had that kind of thing inside me that said I want to do something different than everybody else. I want to go for big things and have these big dreams, even though, it seemed kind of crazy.
How far did you make it in baseball? I read online that you had an injury at one point.
Yeah, I had like a million injuries, unfortunately. I played through college. I played 1 year of semi-pro ball. And then, I transitioned over. I had one friend who was in an acting class, and I knew that the opportunities were running thin baseball-wise. So I hopped into an acting class with my buddy, and with no acting experience or anything. And I was one of the worst students in the class. My teacher came up to me and kept trying to shake out my shoulders because she's like, "You are the stiffest student I've ever had." Like, she literally kept telling me that. And then I came back and I remember telling my mom, and she was like, "Yeah, maybe acting's not the thing for you, but that's totally fine." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to keep going after this thing, actually, I think." Because I liked it. And for me, I felt like I'd always been performing my whole life. Whether it was, like, for me, the baseball field was my stage. That's how I saw it. And so then transitioning over, when I'm performing in front of people, it felt still natural. I just had to kind of switch out of that athlete's mindset into being able to do anything as an actor. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not playing an athlete during every single thing. So that was, I would say, the main adjustment as I went from sports to acting. And I loved it. And I just had so much fun doing it. And I knew that I always wanted to perform. So the only difference was I had to open my mouth now and I had to speak. So there were definitely those things, like being comfortable, not being myself, being comfortable, getting used to the dialogue, getting used to all normal actor things. But once I went at it with the same mentality I did with baseball, which is I'm going to be the hardest worker that there is at this. I'm going to break down a new scene every day. I'm going to put myself on tape with a new character every day. I'm going to be in class. I'm going to be, learning as much as I can. I'm going to be watching as many great actors and studying and reading and doing all these things. And I've worked really hard, over these last 3.5, 4 years since I've been doing this to do so. And I still have so far to go, but I haven't slowed down with that kind of work ethic that baseball taught me. And that's definitely been a huge advantage for me.
When you mentioned that, you were transitioning from baseball to acting, was there like a certain movie that you watched one night or a TV show and you're like, yes, this is what I want to go do next?
East of Eden was probably the thing. I heard a lot, I'm a huge, classic movie nerd now, and it kind of got me into it when I was at college that last year before I jumped into that acting class, and everyone always mentioned James Dean. I didn't know who he was. I didn't even know who that was. I was like, I thought there's a grill or something like that, or some guy, I've seen commercials for Jimmy Dean or something, and now I'm like, I want to slap myself, basically. But basically, I watched East of Eden, and I love that kind of misunderstood, rebellious type of character. And I felt like I had kind of been doing that my whole life in terms of not following the crowd. It wasn't what you see in high school where you see the popular jock who's having a great time. It was I was helping take care of my family and trying to make it as a baseball player. And my junior year of high school, I got cut from the baseball team, and then I went back into my cave, and I worked hard, and I went back the next year and I made the team and I got a scholarship. So it's always been a grind for me. It's never been easy. And so anyway, I watched East of Eden that one year when baseball was coming to an end, and I looked up James Dean. I related to his kind of life situation, and I saw a lot about how hard he worked, and I just really respected it. And then I saw that he had studied at the Actor Studio and learned the method. And so I'm like, that's what I've got to learn. And I saw Brando studied it, Pacino, De Niro, all these guys, they went through there. So that's when I started studying, and I said I need to start learning the methods. So that was the first technique that I actually learned in acting.
Wow.
And it was because I watched that random movie that just happened to be on TV randomly, East of Eden.
So when you were taking the acting classes, what was the next step? You packed your bags and headed out to L.A.?
I had a guy who's been kind of mentoring me, who's a family friend. His name's Ken Sunshine. Since I first started, I went to his office. He's a amazing PR person too, but he was a family friend, so he's known me for a long time. And I went to his office when I first wanted to do this, and I said I want to be an actor, and he's like, "Don't try to be an actor." He's like, "You don't want to do this, trust me." And I'm like, "No, I want to do this." And he's like, "All right, if this is what you want to do, then you should be going to LA. You shouldn't be, New York. I don't know why you want to do it here. You should go to LA and do this. If you really want to commit to doing it." And I said, "Okay." So I cut myself together a fake reel. I had my friends come and help me. I shot 3 scenes for what I could have been. I played I was a young guy in a mobster situation. I played an athlete, and I played, I don't even remember what the other scene was. They were pretty bad. But I cut that together. I reached out to some agents in LA. I had one of them respond to me and say, "If you come out here, then we'll rep you." So packed up the car, went across the country, went out for one audition right when I got here, which was for telenovela, Evil Longoria show.
Yep.
And at the time, and I was like, all right, if I get this, I'll be fine. All the expenses, everything, it'll be set. And then I read for it, and then I didn't get it. And I was like, well, all right, I got to figure things out now. So it wasn't as smooth of an adjustment period as it was in my head. I definitely thought it was just going to all work out perfectly, but it ended up working out. That's all that matters.
So while you were out there, what was do you remember your first gig? And what was it?
My first gig was a student film called The Diary, and it was a New York Film Academy project. I went in and did a monologue for a classroom full of students, and then I don't know, I chopped that monologue up. Like that wasn't really that smooth of an audition either. But anyway, they called me and they wanted me to come to their film, and my brother was playing baseball down in San Diego then too, so I was going from, when I was in LA, I just cruised around, and when I was, because I didn't know anybody yet, and then I would go down and spend some time with my brother. So I just cruised up from San Diego and went over and filmed this thing, and I have no idea what happened to that, to be honest with you. That's one for the archive. You can see if you can find that anywhere, or don't. Either way, I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't know if that's necessarily my finest work. But I would love to actually see that, to see what it was like when my first gig. That was it. So,
wow.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, yikes.
So now you star on Amazon's Prime Class Act that you produced and co-wrote, also, right? Or did you fully write that? So tell me.
I fully wrote that. Yeah.
So tell the listeners what the show is about.
The show's kind of about my story when I got to LA, which was, you're trying to make it as an actor. You show up. It shows both sides of it, though. Like I didn't want to be overly dramatic with anything, and I didn't want to be like overly making fun of anything at the same time. Like there are both sides of it. You know what I mean? Like you see so much ridiculous stuff in the industry, and it also is very tough, as many people would imagine as well. So what I was able to do is just take a lot of the experiences I had. Like I mentioned before, I was in acting class, meeting all these different people and stuff like that, and that was where I spent a lot of my time when I first got here, was class, if I wasn't working or something like that and trying to make money. So I took a lot of the characters that I met and just like elevated them, and shared some of the stories that I had, which was also funny, and then shared some of the times that I saw that were tougher with people too, that we all went through and all go through. It doesn't have to be as an actor. It could be anyone that's going after a big dream, like I mentioned earlier. So yeah, that's what the show's about. We got Eric Roberts to come in. He's teaching the class, and he's so interesting as well, and he was great, and I learned a lot from him as well. And then it kind of came about because I met a guy named Ben McDonald who we were doing casting workshops when we first got here too. And I ran into this guy like 3 times, and we're like, all right, maybe we should make something together. And he's like, but I don't write. And I was like, well, I don't write either, but we're not going to have anything done if I don't write something. So I wrote it. And then we got the project together, went over to Amazon. This was after I worked on the Bay, so I already had kind of worked on an Amazon production, and then I was able to, come together with them. Extremely grateful for that, and we made season 1.
Wow.
So,
and you play Stefano Luciano?
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you describe that character? I know you say he's loosely based on you, but how would you describe him?
Yeah, I would say very loosely, just because he is kind of the broken character that's got that wall up, that's just trying to act like he doesn't know who he is yet or how to act yet, because he doesn't fit into LA necessarily. So for me, it's like every single person that I meet here, when they show up, it's like, are we supposed to act a certain way? Are we supposed to, act like, can we say that we're an actor if we haven't done anything yet? Can we do like, it's just super difficult when you first move here, because there's all these different statuses in your head, and then there's all these people that you see that have been successful, and you compare yourself to other people and all this stuff. And it was so much that I had to learn personally, and it allowed me to then kind of tie some of those things in with substitution into that character with Stefano to add some layers. But also, he's trying to balance being a young adult as well, of work and living an actual life and being a balanced person. And, there's a lot of different things going on there with Stefano.
Yeah. So how is it working with the cast that you've put together?
I really liked it. I mean, like I said, Eric was just so interesting. He's a pro, you know what I mean? He's been doing it for a million years, and he just shows up, he does his thing, and he was actually really funny, which surprised me. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect with him, but he was making jokes all the time and stuff like that, and you couldn't really tell if he was serious or not, so we would wait to make sure he laughed before we laughed. And then but it was really funny. And then a lot of these people I met, like Ben, I'd known him from workshops and stuff like that. And then we pulled in a bunch of other really talented actors, like Mandolin and Nikki. These girls that acted opposite me were like amazing, and I'm grateful to have them as my scene partners. That's always like a key, and especially when you're in the position that I'm lucky enough to be in, to where I can have input on who I get to act with. I want to make sure that my scene partners are pushing me and are bringing it every single day to set. And like, it's kind of like a ping pong match with who's going to win each scene. Like, that's kind of like, because we're both fighting for something, and our characters are both, wanting to get to a certain place, and especially by the end of the season. And it's cool when you can do every scene and you can kind of see each person what they want in those scenes. And that's what was really great for me.
Do you have like a favorite episode from the season?
I like the last one. The last one was really cool just because we had like all the characters in it. So a lot of them, like, we pull some characters in, some characters out. We had like everybody there. I had a big scene with Eric at the end, which was fun for me. And then also there was like probably one of the funniest scenes with Isaac Singleton, who's like a beast. Like, he's a big dude, and he beats the crap out of Ben, which was funny for me to see. And I don't know. It's just like kind of bittersweet too, because that was the end of the season, and there's always something that sits inside you that is like kind of sad after you finish a project. Or that happens to me after every favorite scene that I have. Like, I'll do a scene, and then I'm like, I know I'm just trying to be as present as I can when I do these scenes, because I know as soon as it's over for good, and it's kind of sad. And when you really enjoy and love what you're doing, I have no choice but to be like, I don't know, bittersweet about it when it's over.
Yeah.
So that was probably my most memorable episode, that last one.
Earlier you mentioned that you were also on The Bay, which you won an Emmy Award for that. How was it, like, being in the business for not that long, and next thing you know, you have an Emmy?
It was good for me in terms of, like, I had to learn really quickly, and I got to travel and film. I got to win the Emmy. And I think what was cool about it, that experience too, was like, my mom followed me here. At that point, I wasn't here that long, solo. Like, actually, my family followed me here. My mom came here, and I got to take her with me to the Emmys, and got to have the moment with her when we won, and that was really cool. But it also taught me kind of what I wanted to do in the industry and what I didn't want to do in the industry. And what I wanted to do is kind of make the work that I want to say and use my voice. And so that's why I've been creating a lot of my own stuff now as well, because before that, like, if it was like years before and I could have gotten I don't know, someone told me that I was going to win an Emmy like that, I would have been like, wow, that's really cool. But then you do it, and then the dust settles, and you're extremely grateful for it and the opportunity, but you're like, now what? You know what I mean? It's only something that happens after you do something. And I was like, this isn't what fulfills me. It's just not what fulfills me. Winning awards and getting to go and I don't want to party and win awards. That's not what I want to do. I want to work, and I want to say the stories that I want to say. And nothing has changed from when I was a 15-year-old kid that got cut from that junior varsity baseball team. I want to be the hardest worker here, and I want to tell specific stories. And so that's why I've just been making a lot of my own stuff, because that's what I enjoy doing. And I get so excited about doing that. And without that experience, I would have never known that. And I think everyone's goal should be to find what you want to say as an artist, and whatever that is, commit to that, because it's not about, you can win a million awards and you can be all over magazines or whatever it is, but I don't think that's what's going to make anybody happy at the end of the day. So I don't know. That's my biggest advice on all that stuff.
Speaking of advices, what do you tell people that want to get into the acting business if they come up to you for advice?
Yeah, I actually asked Pierce Brosnan this when I first got here too, and he said just do it. And I said, wow, thanks a lot, man, because I was like, that's a pretty terrible answer. But I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I think back to kind of, I mean, I have so far to go, but I think back to where my journey started, and that's all that it is you have to be consistent. Like I mentioned, being in class, making sure you're creating your own work while you're still auditioning. I just kept my head down and kept working and took it step by step. And most people, they look at the finish line from the start and they're like, wow, I have so far to go. And how do I get there? Instead of just keeping your head down and working. And that's all that I would say is just keep your head down, take it step by step, and do the little things, and you will make progress. Yeah. It is a process. There's like very few people that overnight just make it. And if you are one of those people, congratulations to you. But, I think that you have to just keep being consistent and continue to work, and things are going to happen. It's just, you put the right things in the universe, and they'll reward you for it.
Do you have a dream role that you want to play someday?
I would love to do East of Eden again. They haven't done, I mean, that was the movie that I watched when I first did that. They haven't done it in over 50 years. They did it in 54, longer than that. But they did it in 54, and to break out into a role that someone that I look up to so much got to do would be really cool for me, I think. And it's a Steinbeck novel. That's definitely on my list. I know Universal Pictures has the rights to it, so I'm definitely be hitting them up for sure. But that would definitely be a dream role for me, I think.
Where do you see yourself 10 to 20 years from now?
10 to 20 years from now, I see myself making a lot of the projects that I want to make, just like I'm doing now, but on a bigger stage. I think it'll be, I'll be able to have a little bit more freedom in terms of be working with bigger budgets and some more people. I mean, the thing is that you never know. And all I'm going to keep doing is doing what I'm doing now and keep making the same stories and stuff that I feel like saying at that time. So I don't know. It's kind of like I said, I still have my head down because the finish line is 10 to 20 years from now, I guess. And, or maybe not, maybe it's further along the road than that. So I just have my head down and I'm continuing to work. And so it's difficult for me to say where I'll be at that point, but I can guarantee you that I'll be telling stories that mean a lot to me, and that I will be, working really hard to tell really interesting ones and put good content out there for people to watch.
I know you said you loved baseball growing up. We're going to see any baseball shows or movies?
Maybe. I'd written one script, but I'm not going to do it. I wouldn't rule it out. I love baseball. So if there's an amazing baseball project, I would do that. I would have done Moneyball. You know what I mean? I would do Field of Dreams, or there's a lot of interesting projects that are out there baseball-wise that I would definitely do. It would just have to be a story that I really want to tell, like I said. And, you know, I love to utilize my sports background. The first film that I ever did that helped me get on the Bay, I played a boxer, and it was the first thing that I ever wrote before I wrote Class Act. And I said that I need to write something that's close to the vest. I said what would be cool for me to play besides being a baseball player and being so on the nose. And I said that would be a boxer because that would just be fun for me. I love Rocky. I loved all these other ones.
Yeah.
And so I just used a little substitution there. I went in and trained at 10 Goose Boxing Gym in Van Nuys for a few months. And, and then I did a boxing short. I did it with somebody who was on the Bay. And then they connected me with the people on the Bay, and that's how I got on the Bay, really. So through creating my own work, that's what happened. And then also I got a call one day from the representatives of the band The Killers. You know that band?
Yep.
And they said they needed a boxer for their music video. And I guess I was a boxer now. So I went and was the boxer in their music video.
Oh, wow.
So, work leads to more work. And if you can create your own work, then you're going to be working. So, all that stuff that came from that. And I love to utilize the sports background. And I'll definitely do something in the future if the right project comes along.
Mm. So I know you're involved with charities and foundations. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been working with a lot of different charities. Mostly, I like working with kids a lot. We did Reading with Kids in New York when I was in New York, and then here in LA as well. And then there's one particular one called the Peggy Beatrice Foundation, which is great. They feed the homeless every Tuesday at Skid Row, 1 in the afternoon or noon. And a buddy of mine named Pierre Johnson, who lived in my apartment building that I used to live in North Hollywood, I met him, and he told me that he runs the organization, and me and my little brother would go down and we help feed, and that's one that I would highly recommend people to get involved with if you're in the LA area, because they always need more people, and it's not a crazy time commitment. You go down there, you feed, and then you walk around a little bit and you hand out a little more food and you go, and it's just once a week, and they're just amazing people involved. Pierre's he's like my big bro. He's like one of the best people that I know. And it just, obviously it feels good, and they really need it down there. It's definitely in rough shape. So, yeah.
Lastly, how can the listeners find you on social media?
My Instagram handle is just Jake Hunter Official. So that's where you can find me there. I think it's the same on Twitter and Facebook as well. And then you can watch the show on Amazon Prime, Class Act as well.
All right, Jake. Thanks for coming on. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.